Hello everyone, Josh first back again with some more OverHit, and today we're going to be talking about costumes. Costumes are pretty much the big debate going on for the past 24 hours. Everyone was like, oh my god, the costume gotcha's paywall, it's got stats, it's just like what happened in Knights Chronicles. No. First we need to kind of just throw that and, tuck that under the rug, put it to bed, whatever. Put it 6 feet under. Because Knights Chronicles actually gave you actual skill increases, advanced skills, buff to skills, whatever, which in itself is very game-breaking, very, very powerful. And then they also gave you higher stats and stuff like that, okay? And it was fully behind a paywall. There was no free-to-play option whatsoever. Now, costumes are still fairly young in its lifespan for global. We're not comparing to JP or Korea because that's not fair, because all 3 games are going in their own direction. If you just noticed that Agnes was a tank now, which she wasn't in Japan, for example, I mean, that's just another indication of how the games are just going off in their own direction. I don't know why we have 3 versions. I don't know what that was all about. That's another topic for another video. But staying on point here, so costumes. People are like, costumes are so pay to win. It's ridiculous. It's going to kill the game. People are going to rage quit because they have stats. Not the case. All right, let's actually look at some of these premium costumes and their stats. Okay, so here is the Celestial Emperor costume for Angelo. It gives you an additional 100 attack, 100 defense, and 300 HP. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh, those stats are completely useless, because they're not. They have a little bit of usage. And in very rare and specific situations, they may help you survive a hit with very low HP remaining, or they can possibly give you a kill when the enemy would have very low HP remaining. So that little tiny statistics could help favor you in those very rare circumstances. But don't think just because you did it one fight, it's going to work for you the second fight or the third fight, because every fight is going to be different, because everybody's wearing different types of gear with different types of substats. Because remember, a lot of the gear still have 3 to 4 different substats that are going to be different in, influx of different gradings and different percentages and flat stats, etc., etc. A lot of RNG involved with gear, okay? And in my opinion, gear is much more impactful than these outfits. And we're going to get into that later in the video. So definitely stick around for that. We're going to do a little bit of math here for you guys later on. Now, another thing is, if you want to compare this to Knights Chronicles, you need to understand the situation here. Knights Chronicles was a fully free-to-play game. Like, it was one of the best free-to-play games. And then they completely threw a curveball at the player base and said, you know what? We want to just start making a lot of money. So let's go ahead and just make all these very powerful costumes full pay to win. Now, that was with a game that was very, very free-to-play friendly. Very free-to-play friendly. If not one of the best free-to-plays at the time for Netmarble. Okay? And that was being competitive. Now, we're talking about OverHit here, where if you're trying to be competitive in Arena specifically, you're not going to be doing it long-term free-to-play, because people out there have URs already. People out there that have full +5 SSR teams, and you are not going to be able to keep up with that. You could buy all the costumes in the game. That's not going to make any difference. You're still going to go out there and you're going to get destroyed if you get way up there in the high tier of PvP. So PvP was already pay to win from day one if you're trying to climb to the higher echelon of the rankings. So the introduction of these gears with the, introduction of these costumes with these small stat increases are not changing that fact at all. Not even a bit. You do not need these outfits or costumes, however you want to call them, for PvE. They're not going to make too much of a difference. The impact is going to be so small and somewhat even unnoticeable. Okay? So PvP is where I think a lot of people are complaining about this gear. I keep saying gear. Complaining about these costumes. The problem is, PvP was already pay to win before these costumes even came into the game. And these little stat boosts aren't really going to make all that much of a difference. And if you're whaling out in PvP, you're probably going to buy these costumes anyway, because you're a whale. You're a whale or you're a megalodon. And heaven forbid we got players out there that are like freaking krakens or something, some next level spending that I've never even heard of. But yeah, that's the case in PvP. That's the competitive aspect. And it's going to be the same thing in Guild Wars. If we ever get Guild Wars, it's going to be the same thing. A lot of these higher tier guilds are going to have all whale players. They're going to have Megalodon players. They may even have 1 or 2 Krakens in there somewhere. Who knows? But they're going to have a very vast majority of big spenders on their guilds or in their PvP teams. Whatever. That's what the case is going to be. Regardless of these costumes, if they existed or not, if they had stats or not, it would not matter. And for those of you out there that are like, oh, but I wanted that cool looking outfit and I can't get it because it's behind a paywall. Have you ever played Fortnite? Okay. You got to buy a battle pass if you want to get certain ones, or you got to just straight up buy them with V-Bucks, for example. And to be honest, I'd rather that be the monetary stipulation in a game than loot boxes or gachas. Okay. But unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, so sometimes we get both, sometimes we only get one or the other, or whatever. But yeah, if you want to get a premium-looking design for your character, a cosmetic, something that you want, not something that you need, then sure, there's going to probably be a price tag. That's not an issue. I don't see how you could think that's an issue, okay? That's like going into a grocery store and buying 59-cent pop, that's some generic brand, but you really want to go in there and buy a Pepsi, and it's like 99 cents, and you're expecting to get both those for the same price. No, if you want the name brand, if you want the more premium quality product, you're going to have to pay for it. But in this case, it's not something that you even need. It's something that a lot of you may want, but that does not warrant or grant you the right to complain that the game's pay to win fully now because of that. It's not. The closest this costume right now can get to pay to win is if literally it's making a huge impact in PvP for PvP, but it's not. And if you're already trying to make an impact to PvP, you're going to be spending money anyway. So it was already pay to win from the get-go, like we've already, mentioned. Now, again, with the rare situations in PvP, even in the lower ranks, this gear could make a slim difference, but it's not going to be so impactful or even that noticeable. And remember, at the beginning of the video, I talked about how one good piece of gear can completely eradicate all the buffs that you're getting from this one costume. So let's actually jump right into that now. Now that we know that the outfit's giving you 100 attack, 100 defense, and 300 HP, let's talk about how one just decent piece of gear plus 0 5-star gear, even maybe 4-star gear, could completely erase all the statistics that you're getting from the so-called pay-to-win costume. All right, let's go and show that right now. So let's get out of here. Okay, so let's look at my Angelo specifically here. So as you can see, I have 3 level 40, 5-star pieces of gear. I got both his skills at level 4 right now. All that doesn't matter. His grade is at S. He's a +4. Need one more dupe. Come on, give it to me. So you'll notice my magic attack right now is 8177. Let's make this easy. Let's actually go ahead and put this at just 9,000 attack. Let's just say he's got 9,000 attack, and let's say that he does a single target attack for 400% of attack. Okay? Let's just keep this math pretty simple. Okay? So, without a costume, he's going to have 9,000 attack, 400% attack for his skill. Let's just say his skill, that's 1, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is just theoretical theory crafting here. So, we're going to have a 9,000 base attack, and we're going to do 400% damage based on our attack to a single target. So, that would be, bearing in mind if we just completely exclude defense or any kind of resistance or type advantages or disadvantages, let's just say that our base damage will be 36,000 damage. Okay? We're going to do 9,000 times 4.0, which would, or just times 4 for the 400%. That's how you do it when you do the math on it. So it'd be about 36,000 damage, just base damage to one target. Fine, right? It's cool. Probably going to kill anything in the game if you're doing that much, obviously. Because that would be a lot of defense or HP you would require to survive that type of hit. But anyways, you're doing 36,000 base damage. Now let's throw in the costume. Okay? Let's throw in the costume that we just paid $30 for or whatever. The premium costume that we just had to have. We had to get out the wallet to get it. that people are saying are pay to win, that, you know, just giving you this big advantage in the game. Let's add that additional 100 attack. We now have 9100 attack thanks to the costume. Guess how much damage we're going to do now, everyone? We're going to do 36,400. So we added a whopping 400 attack. Awesome, right? Not bad. 400 attack. That could save my. That could one-shot a few people possibly that I couldn't one-shot before. That additional 400 attack. You never know. Somebody might have had really low HP. I mean, obviously you wouldn't have known this because you didn't fight that person specifically before. Possibly this might. So you know, you don't know. But you know, hypothetically, maybe it did help you one-shot somebody when you maybe not been able to before. Cool, right? Maybe. But let me show you guys something pretty interesting. Okay, let me show you my terrible March self-indulgence weapon here. You'll notice I have a certain substat. It's called dealt damage increase rate percentage, 1.55%. If that was 5%, for example, let's just say I got a blue one, a blue grade, or even a gold grade possibly. Let's just say my dealt damage increase rate was 5%. I would now do 36,000 damage times 0.05, an additional 5% on top of that, which would be, I believe, somewhere around 1,800 damage additionally that I would be doing compared to the 400 that I'd be getting from a costume. So my math may be a little bit off on that. I'm sure some of you may correct me in the comment section below. That's fine. But nonetheless, you can see that just one substat, just a base substat, is far more superior than that entire $30 costume that you just bought. Now, would you consider gear all to be pay to win now as well? And then if you do that, then you got to take it a step further and say all dupes are pay to win as well. People are paying for dupes to get +5 heroes. So then your argument goes from costumes are pay to win, screw this game, to, oh, everything in the game's pay to win, screw this game. Because you can make the same argument and the same excuse for everything in this game because of the way the game is designed. And again, nothing in this game is pay to win outside of PvP. You can get through all the PvE content in the game. You can go and do raids. Sure, you may not be able to do raid 9 or 10, but you're still doing raids. Okay? You're still going out there and doing raid 1 through 8, 1 through 7, 1 through 6, whatever. You're still participating in the raid without spending a penny. They have the shard system. You're still able to get dupes and stuff. It may take a long time. They may be, you know, the influx of new characters are really making the pool getting a little bit harder, which I will be talking about that in another video. It's not all sunshine and rainbows over here next on OverHit, but today's video specifically, I'm just trying to cut into the BS. A lot of people are like, oh my god, this whole costume thing is just ridiculous. It's really not. I mean, it's really not making much of a difference. There really isn't much of a change from the day before these came and the day after. There really is no big impact in the game. Sure, the costumes look awesome and you may want to pay for them, but that's just because you want to look cool. The stats themselves, if you're spending $30 trying to chase those stats, then I don't know what to tell you. Those stats are not worth chasing for $30. And I just explained to you how one substat could completely erase all of that costume that you spent for $30 for free just by getting one good substat on a piece of gear. Even a level 40 gear, even a 4-star gear could have one substat that completely outclasses that costume. And outclasses it by quite a big margin. So hopefully I helped ease some of your concerns or confusion or misunderstanding of what's going on. I know a lot of you are probably just kind of hearing from other people and you're kind of just going with the flow, but hopefully I was able to deter some of that away, you know, put a little bit of that to rest, because it's ridiculous. This is not the Knights Chronicle situation, not even close. And I know a lot of you are probably just salty because you want to have all these cool costumes for free, and they may bring some feature in the game later on to be able to do that. I mean, costumes were literally introduced technically yesterday, okay? I mean, it's been a day. We did have the free reskins for characters like Esta, Colette, I think Celesta now, because of their individual events, and I'm sure we'll get those for all the other SSR heroes in the game as well. But to say that it's a full pay-to-win feature and you have to get it or you're not going to be competitive or you're going to be this and be that, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And if you're trying to be competitive anyway, PvP was already pay to win. So, I mean, we need to just make that fact known. If you're trying to climb like 10, 11, 12, 13k points plus, you're running into whales. You're running into people that are spending money. So chances are they're probably spending money on these costumes, probably not even for the stats, just because they're spending money anyway and it's just something else to buy. But anyways, hope you guys all enjoyed that. Hopefully I used some of your concerns again. If you agree with me or not, that's fine. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe if you're newer to the channel. And it would be all have a wonderful day wherever you are. Until next time, as always, peace.